Live back in action, attacking your speakers from the field to the bleachers. This is the Power 32 podcast here with my main man, Mr. Primetime 313 David Dale in the house. And I am the sports prophet, ready for another hour of NFL discussions, debates, all the good stuff. You guys in the chat room, time to have a good time, Mr. Primetime. How about it?
Hey, man, that's absolutely, man. Let's do this shit. How's the weather down there in sunny, muggy-ass Florida?
Yeah,
it's almost hurricane season. You're 63 days away from the start of hurricane season, just to give you a gentle reminder.
Yeah, we're freaking due over here in this area where I live. We are due. So, I mean, I don't want to hear the word hurricane. I don't want to hear about teams named the Hurricanes, any of that shit. I just get that out of my system right now. Because Tampa had got like it real bad for a little while, and you know, Miami used to be like the center for hurricanes, and I'm kind of like in between the south and east of there, so I don't know what's gonna happen, man. But I'm terrified of that shit. I don't know, but just hurricanes, they can be pretty destructive. They can, and the Miami Hurricanes almost were destructive in the college championships this year, but the number one overall pick soon to be Fernando Mendoza took them down. But I think that the Hurricanes are going to have some guys go in the first round. Maybe Indiana will probably have only one guy go in the first round, even though they have a pretty good team overall. And we're going to talk a lot of NFL draft, but we're not quite there yet. We still have about 4 weeks, 3.5 weeks to go, whatever it is. So we're going to do our mock drafts and all that good stuff. It's all coming up. But today, we're going to go back over the last 10 years, see how many first-round wide receivers have been hits and misses in the NFL draft. So going back to 2016, we got big deal or no deal. All right, we're going to do a little of what we expect from the new head coaches in new places around the league. And we'll look into the crystal ball, as my man, Mr. Primetime, has got that all set up later, and look at some team futures. So that and more. But, of course, we got to start with NFL trivia, man. Are you ready to go?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. It is time to rock and roll. NFL trivia, I got faith in you on this one, and I got a little tidbit of information after whether you get it right or wrong. But here is the question. Since we're going to be talking wide receivers today and we're getting close to the NFL draft, my question to you is, which wide receiver was the number one pick in the 1996 NFL draft? 1996. So we're going back a little bit. You and I, unfortunately, are old enough to remember that.
Damn. 30 years ago. Man, that's a long time. 1996.
Can he get it, folks?
You say he went number one overall?
The number one overall pick, wide receiver, number one overall pick in 1996.
Oh, fuck. I feel like I should know this. Because it doesn't happen that often with wide receivers going number one overall. No, it doesn't.
And I'll tell you how often, in fact, it does happen right after this answer comes from you. We'll see if you got it. But, it hasn't happened many times, my friend. But first overall pick in 96 was a wide receiver. Which one was it?
I'm gonna kick myself because I don't know.
You're gonna kick yourself. I'm telling you, you're definitely gonna kick yourself because the answer is Keyshawn Johnson.
Oh yeah, for the Jets.
For the Jets.
Yeah. Oh. Give me the damn ball.
Give me the freaking damn ball.
Because Calvin went second overall. Calvin didn't go first. And Moss didn't go. Moss, I don't even think was like top 3-4. So yeah.
No, in fact, it's only happened 3 times apparently in the history of the Common Era draft, going back to 1984. Irving Fryer. All right, and I actually remember him. I know you remember him too. He went to the Patriots in 1984, and my 49ers picked a guy named, I did not know this, a guy named Dave Parks. All right, with the first overall pick in 1964.
Oh my God!
3 times.
Yeah, we weren't around back then.
No,
we're not that old, but
no, we're not that ancient. No, we're not ancient aliens over here. No, but so Keyshawn Johnson, one of 3 wide receivers to be the number one overall pick in the NFL draft. We're doing wide receivers today, going back over the last 10 years. So that question had to come up, man. But
no, real quick. How do you feel about Keyshawn Johnson's career overall? I mean, was he everything that everybody expected him to be coming out of USC, or did he still leave a little bit of meat on the bone, so to speak, once he because he ended up going to Tampa. So what's your overall feel of Keyshawn in his career?
You feel like he left a little meat on the bone, like you said. He was a really good wide receiver. I mean, like
Mhm.
really good. Was he unbelievably fantastic, out of control? No. So he never lived up to the number one hype. He's not a Hall of Famer. So I guess in that case, you could say, he's probably not, probably live up to the hype. But he was eventually a Super Bowl champion with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He
Mhm.
went around. He went to the Dallas Cowboys and played a little bit. I think he was in the Carolina Panthers even for a little bit of time. But yeah. Anyway, Keyshawn Johnson overall had a really good career, but not Hall of Fame worthy.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. It's one of one of those, he did enough to where you didn't call him a bust, but he I don't think he met the expectations.
There you go.
The one of the reasons why he probably bounced around, to so many teams. But yeah, I still I don't even put him up there with like T.O. and Marvin Harrison and all those.
Oh,
In
hell
his
no.
mind, if you listen to him on like interviews and podcasts and stuff, he'd tell you he's the greatest thing since pants with pockets. But
Of
yeah, not
course.
really, not really.
No, but he had look. He did. He had a really good career. There's no doubt about it. As I say, it's up to one of our favorites over here, Mr. McNiner, who does a great job himself. Make sure you check out his podcast. What's good, McNiner? Talking wide receivers today. We did quarterbacks last week, and we found out that there were more misses than hits in the first round of the NFL draft going back to 2016. We're going to do the same thing right now with wide receivers. And right off the bat in 2016, I have a few names for you that you probably don't even remember. Our fans, our audience over here is not going to remember. NFL football fans are not going to remember. These are going to be some crazy names that come out, but we got some hit or misses. I was going over it. I was like, oh my God, that guy went in the first round. I can't believe that. But here we go, man. You ready to do some hit or miss?
Yeah, last week we had 19 misses for
19
quarterbacks
misses,
and
14
14
hits.
hits.
And we were
Yes.
being generous with the
Yeah,
hits.
with a few like Trevor Lawrence and it's
and
funny we say
Justin
that's the
Herbert.
first name we both say. Yeah.
Yeah, and Justin Herbert too. Like he hasn't hit yet. These guys haven't hit yet, so there was some argument over there with that one. But
Right.
overall, yeah, more misses than hits. But let's see what happens with the wide receivers. First, in 2016, the 15th overall pick to the Cleveland Browns, Corey Coleman. Where is he now?
I think I saw him. There's a Checkers not too far down from where I live. I think I saw him down there, actually standing outside of the Checkers asking for change, was shaking a hat. So not even working at Checkers, he's standing outside of Checkers asking for like a big Buford or something like that. So
Jeez, I
yeah,
love
that's
it.
a definite
Yeah.
miss.
I guess that would be a miss right there. You said it all. Yep. I think the next guy, the 21st overall pick who went to the Houston Texans, Will Fuller, who looked good for maybe a couple of years. He was mixed in there with DeAndre Hopkins, but overall, Will Fuller, no.
Yeah, he's a miss. Definite miss.
That's definitely a miss. And our next one is not Jahan Dotson, who'll come up later, but Josh Doctson, who went 22nd to the Washington Commanders or the Washington football team or the Redskins or whatever they were in 2016. I don't even freaking know. But that's definitely a miss right there. And
I don't even think he had like any, like Fuller had like a couple of moments.
Yeah,
to where he can't. I mean, he was respectable. He wasn't a superstar or a hit by any stretch of imagination. But Josh Dotson, I think, was Josh Dotson, I think, was one of those guys too, drafted kind of, a little bit ahead of what everybody thought he was going to be, and he never panned out at all.
No, man.
Unfortunately.
So far, all three of these guys haven't, and there's one more. Minnesota drafted a wide receiver, 23rd overall in 2016, Laquan Treadwell. He had a lot of tread coming out of college, but didn't live up to it, man. That's another miss right there.
Did he come out of Florida?
You would know better than I would.
I think he was a former Gator, if I'm not mistaken.
You're the college guy over here.
Yeah, he was a guy. He was one of those guys. Again, they were that back then. A lot of people who don't follow college football around that time, that's where Florida was like really, really good, and they were just drafting Florida guys just because they went to Florida, kind of like what they do now with Alabama and Georgia. But yeah, he was one of those guys. I think that just never really lived up to the hype.
No, absolutely not. Not a chance in the world. So 2016 first round wide receivers, Corey Coleman, Will Fuller, Josh Doctson, and Laquan Treadwell, all misses. We go to 2017, where the Tennessee Titans took Corey Davis, who was promising, but again, never lived up to the hype with the fifth overall pick.
Man, we're getting a lot of misses here, man. A lot of misses.
We're starting off, we're swinging and missing, man. Our batting average sucks. Right now.
It really, if you're wide receiver drafted back then, yeah, you're kind of, we're 0 for what, 0 for 5 right now. Actually,
5 already.
Treadwell went to Ole Miss.
Oh, okay.
I think about it. Yeah, Ole Miss. He was there. No, he was there. That was after Eli. But yeah, Treadwell went to Ole Miss.
I think this next guy went to USC, and that would be who the Chargers drafted with the 7th overall pick. That'd be Mike Williams. Didn't he go to USC?
He did.
Right.
He was actually not to be confused with the other Mike Williams.
Right.
But yeah, Mike Williams was he was a really, really good college receiver. Really, really good.
You know what? He was a threat in the pros. He didn't get a lot of catches, but when he did, I mean, he was catching, like 50, 60-yard passes. His yards, per catch attempt were just out of control. But did he live up to the 7th overall pick hype? No.
Absolutely. No, but so if we call him a hit or if we call him a miss, do we call him a hit in relation to the other guys that we put on this list that are misses so far, or do we just qualify him we just quantify him just as a miss period? Because he was a guy, you talk about a guy that comes out with huge expectations. That was when the USC train was rolling, and he was part of that. And for him to come out and kind of have a subpar, NFL career, he was around for a while, but he really didn't live up to the expectations either.
No, man, absolutely not. So that's already 6 that we're at, and McNiner definitely getting ahead over here, but I love that he's in on this. Can't wait till we get to Marvin Harrison Jr., who was the 4th overall pick in 2024. Yeah, we're definitely going to get there. And McNiner, feel free to comment in anytime you want, brother. We appreciate it, man. You're awesome. We got the last wide receiver in 2017 was the 9th overall pick by Cincinnati, John Ross.
John Ross was the guy that blew everybody away at the combine with it. I think he was like a 4.2. Yeah, and he could run a straight line, but he never really amounted to anything. A lot of guys, if they couldn't, he couldn't run a route to save his life, and I think that was one of the biggest knocks on him.
That was it, straight line.
That's it.
His game was linear, man. Whoop, that's it, straight line.
Yeah, but he definitely did not live up to the expectations.
No, man. I'm saying, look, we went through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wide receivers already.
Who was after Treadwell? Who did you say after Treadwell?
He was the last one in 2016 in the first round. Then we went to 2017. Corey Davis, the 5th overall.
Corey. Oh, yeah. Okay, I didn't write that one down.
We missed on him. Now, this next one's interesting. We're going to 2018 now. DJ Moore was taken 24th overall by the Carolina Panthers. What do you think about him? Still in the league? Still significant? Just got traded to Buffalo?
Yeah. I would have to say he's a hit. I mean, all things being considered, especially, the way that this list over here of misses is looking very, very pitiful. So
in 2 years.
I think he's, and then, he's still got a lot to prove, but I think all things being equal, I think you can probably call him a hit.
Yeah, I think that, he's been around the league, for a while. He's made a significant impact. And he went 24th overall. He didn't go 4th overall. So that's where I can bend a little bit on that one and say, you know what? He's been kind of a hit. He's been a pretty good player in this league. So I'm all right with that. Now, the second and last wide receiver drafted in 2018 is a guy who's got still a lot of potential, but he hasn't been able to show it for a few reasons. One of them would be gambling, and that's Calvin Ridley, who went 26th overall to Atlanta, ended up with Jacksonville, was on the Falcons for a little bit, showed that he can play ball, but the fact that he got suspended and benched and he was hurt and he hadn't played for a while here and there, for me, it's kind of hard to call him a hit, bro. Even though he may have the skills, it's hard for me to call him a hit. He's missed so much time in his short career.
Well, yeah, and this is one of those what I alluded to earlier about, the run on Florida guys back then, early, from the 90s and 2000s. But Calvin Ridley was one of those guys that benefited from playing for Alabama. It was like, okay, he wasn't even the best wide receiver on that team. And when you talk about, Julio Jones and guys like that, that they've had come out of there, he doesn't even rank anywhere close to any of those guys. So I'd probably say, all things being equal, even though he wasn't drafted, top 10 or anything like that, I still say he was a very, very big disappointment.
All right, there you go. Yeah, all right, I would agree. Again, the skills are there, no question, but overall, nope. So we're going to call him a miss.
This
We're going to
list
move.
is looking pretty bad right now,
I
Prophet.
know. Well, we got some pretty.
This-
I'll tell you, there are some really good wide receivers coming though.
oh yeah.
Maybe not in the 2019 draft though. Baltimore took the first wide receiver with the 25th overall pick, and that was Marquise Brown.
No. I'm not a big Hollywood.
You can't even try, man.
I'm not a big Hollywood fan. You know, he's another guy that's, you know, been to a couple teams, and one of those guys. I think with Marquise Brown, he's one of those guys that you were just waiting. It's like, okay, this will be the year, this will be the year, this will be the year, and then that year never came. And
never
so he's mid at best, as the kids will say. He's meh, but definitely a miss in my book.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. So yeah, we're up to 9 misses already, and this next one is a guaranteed miss. And for those who remember this name, the 32nd overall pick, last pick in the first round by the New England Patriots. You ready for this one, bro? N'Keal Harry. Oh my God.
Oh my, yeah. That's,
you remember that?
Man, you talk about I mean,
what
it's not
boss.
it's not a way back, you know, because it was only 5-6 years ago, 7 years ago, whatever. But yeah, N'Keal Harry. You know, the Patriots were never one to really, you know, go out on a limb and draft like the best one in the draft. They felt, you know, we can just get some guys that can run routes. And N'Keal Harry was known as a good route runner, but the problem is he lacked that big play ability that, you know, that the Patriots were starting to look for around that time. So yeah, it's safe to say he's a bust.
We have gone from 2016 through 2019, and only one wide receiver has hit out of 11. How about that? How about that? And it's going to start getting a little bit better now, but it's going to take a couple of more players to get there. In 2020, the first wide receiver taken in that draft was the 12th overall pick by the Raiders. And he was fast as freaking hell, man. But that was about it. Kind of like John Ross, who we talked about before. Henry Ruggs.
Another Alabama product. You know, it's one of those guys that, okay, well, he went to Alabama. He was well coached, so we'll take a chance on him. But at the end of the day, man, that was such a
Raider move. That was such a Raider move.
It was.
Fastest wide receiver in.
Well, it goes back to, you remember John Chad and you know those guys. You know that they've always been fascinated with speed, but unfortunately for Henry Ruggs, he was fast, but he wasn't football. You know, his speed didn't translate, you know, to the NFL, and it's different when, you know, Tua or Jalen Hurts or I think it was Tua at the time, maybe even. No, actually, that was Mac Jones. I think that was one of Mac Jones' targets at Alabama. So, yeah, we'll just leave.
Yeah, not a good one. Henry Ruggs right there. Yep, back in 2020, he was drafted. He was the first wide receiver taken. The second one was 15th overall by the Denver Broncos, and that was Jerry Jeudy. What's your call on him?
Where did he go to school? He was another Alabama product.
Alabama guy. That's right.
Alabama guy. So. You know what?
We got more of those.
I don't really want to call him a hit. It's kind of hard with him because
he's not a hit.
No, he's not a hit. No, but
when you're drafted, look, 15th isn't sky high, but you're the second.
But for a receiver, though, I mean, in that draft, that was a pretty deep draft.
I gotta call that a miss.
Yeah, I'll call him a miss just because.
I gotta call that a miss, man.
Because when you think of top 10 receivers in the league, you don't think of Jerry Jeudy. He's another one of those guys like, okay, any day now. You know, he went to Denver. It's like, all right, here we go.
Now he went to wide receiver hell in Cleveland, so he's never going to get out from under the Henry
Good luck
Ruggs.
with that.
Yeah, that's never going to happen.
Sorry, JJ.
Jeez. Yeah, just ain't going to happen for you, buddy. All right, but our next one, I'm pretty sure you're going to say is a hit, and that would be one CeeDee Lamb. Dallas made a good draft choice there with that guy, 17th overall.
I mean, I think, I'm just as a Giants fan, screw him. But as just a football fan, I used to be. I actually came out on this show a few times early on in my tenure here and said that I didn't think CeeDee Lamb was like a top 10 receiver, 5 receiver.
Yeah, you're crazy, bro.
Right? But yeah, the fact that I'm crazy, I think that's been proven just hanging around with you for as long as I've been, doing this show now.
You should be checked out.
My sanity has already been tested. But yeah, CeeDee Lamb is a definite hit. Definite hit.
Definitely a hit, CeeDee Lamb. He is a phenomenal wide receiver, no doubt about it. And next up, their NFC East rival, the Philadelphia Eagles, took with the 21st overall pick. Another miss, man, Jalen Reagor. Remember him?
Absolutely, yeah. Next.
Next. Next. I love it. We're still in the 2020 draft. How about this one? The Minnesota Vikings stepping up and taking Justin Jefferson.
Oh, absolutely.
That's overall pick.
Probably my favorite wide receiver in the league. I'm not going to lie. I love
him. Yeah, he's something else, man.
Just waiting for the day he gets tired of, being up there in the Scandinavian country with all the white fish, the fish fries and all that, and just come to the Motor City just for 1 year, man. I'd love to see him. I'd love me some Justin Jefferson.
Well, you don't think that Kyler Murray's going to throw for 5,000 yards this year?
He might. Quiet as kept. People joke about that. He might.
I know. It might happen in that offense. No shit. That'll be something extra to talk about. I love it. All right, one more receiver taken in the 2020 first round pick. 25th overall pick, my San Francisco 49ers, Brandon Ayuk. And they are paying him so much money, it makes me sick. One of the worst moves other than Trey Lance. I mean, you got to be freaking kidding me. Brandon Ayuk giving him that deal, horrible. He showed promise.
I told you. When that first happened, man, I was scratching my head like, I can't believe what they just did. And I didn't believe they acted so desperately. I think that was a very un-49er-like move. I think Brandon Ayuk kind of gave them the illusion that he was going to be that guy.
Yeah,
and
man.
Deep down, I think everybody, even you and McNiner and somebody else that we know, there was no way that he was going to be that guy. And then his money got hurt, and now here we are.
I was begging them to not pay him that money. When he came out and he said he wanted a new contract, we knew that it was going to be $30 million. I'm like, you have to be kidding me. He has not proven anything to deserve that kind of money, and he still hasn't. He's had a couple of good catches, one was against your Detroit Lions in the NFC Championship that year, where it bounced off of, who was that, Kirby Josephs?
No, that was, I think that was Vildor, so I forgot who that was.
Okay.
But, let's real quick. What people don't realize, people talk about the catch. People didn't remember that was going to be 1st and 10 there anyway because there was a flag thrown for pass interference.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't remember that. But anyway,
it happened.
Bitter Lion fans, we definitely remember that shit.
Yeah.
16-point lead.
No doubt.
Brock Purdy.
Brock freaking Purdy.
I can't do it right now. I can't.
Hey, Brock freaking Purdy, man. All right, let's do 2021 draft. 5th overall pick by the Cincinnati Bengals, Ja'Marr Chase.
Definite hit. I like Ja'Marr. I wish, ladies and gentlemen, you have to remember there was a time when the LSU Tigers had Joe Burrow, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Justin Jefferson, and Ja'Marr Chase on the same team.
Crazy.
Go back and look that year up where Joe Burrow threw for 50 touchdowns. I think they trailed for like a total of 20 minutes the entire season. That probably offensively, that was probably the greatest season in college football history. I'm not talking about the 2001 Hurricanes with Vince Wilfork or the old Hurricanes with all them, but you look back at that season with Joe Burrow and Chase and Justin Jefferson was actually the number 2 receiver on that team. If you can believe it.
Crazy, right? And there's a debate who's better between the two of them now. And either way you want to go, it's marginally close right there, no doubt. But, yep, Ja'Marr Chase is a hit. How about the 6th overall pick right after him, Jalen Waddle to the Miami Dolphins, who is now a Denver Bronco?
I think Jalen Waddle is the ultimate on the fence guy. It's like, okay. He's had some flashes. I would call him a miss. I would kind of lean towards a miss with him.
All right. I mean, he hasn't put up the eye-popping numbers. He hasn't even been a number 1 wide receiver on his own team yet, so I can see where you're going with that.
What do you think?
I think he's better than what he's been able to show so far. I think he's been limited with, to his inabilities in certain areas. And the fact that he was the 2nd wide receiver, Tyreek was the number 1, and they were looking at him a little bit more than they were to Jalen Waddle. And Jalen Waddle stepped up big time last year when the offense was totally broken. I mean, it was only him and A-Chain who were making plays. So I honestly, I think he's more of a hit than a miss. But if you think miss, I'm gonna mark it as a miss.
Well, no, I can be, I can be swayed because, like you say, when you're, he did have like some really big games for the Dolphins, and let's not.
But you're right. You're right. He hasn't put up like those numbers where
it's like a consistency
sixth
thing.
Overall pick.
Yeah.
Sixth overall pick. So maybe in that sense, maybe he is a miss. I'm going to go with you on the miss over there. Then. You know what? Sixth overall pick, and he hasn't been even the number one wide receiver yet. Yeah. I got a problem with that, and that'll put us in debate with our next guy, ironically, who went 10th overall in that draft to the Philadelphia Eagles, Devonta Smith, Super Bowl champion.
Alabama product, Devonta Smith.
There you go. I told you, Alabama guys are going to be all over the place.
They're all over the place.
He's another guy who's second wide receiver on his own team, but maybe could be a number one and maybe get a chance to be a number one because we don't know what's going to happen with A.J. Brown. He may be traded after June 1st, and we'll save that conversation for another day.
Yeah, the thing that I always was with me anyway was the knock on him was that he's just so small. He's just a little fella.
Right, yeah.
And not only is he short, but he's not he's like a toothpick. He's like he's about 170 pounds, 180 pounds. But you know what? All things being considered, he's a Super Bowl champion. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's been part of numerous division champions. And I'd have to say he's a hit. He's not the, not the eye-popping guy, but he's still.
You think that he's better than Jalen Waddle?
I do.
All right.
I do.
All right.
I do.
I'm cool with that.
Not by much, and I know people are probably going to shoot me for that. Not by much, but I think he is slightly better than Jalen Waddle, just from a consistency, route running, things like that. Just the fundamental type thing. Jalen Waddle's all about speed.
All right, I could dig it. Well, just to let you know where we're at right now, about halfway through this thing, we have 5 hits and 15 misses. Wide receivers straight for the first round. Great job, GMs. You really got your eye on the prize over there.
Right.
This next one is going to hit home for you, my brother. 20th overall pick by the New York Giants in 2021, Kadarius Toney.
Absolute miss.
Yeah.
Absolute. I hated the. You know what? We're not gonna.
I don't want to get you all heated up.
Him.
Right now. Then he goes to Kansas City and wins a championship.
Exactly. But the fact that he and Kenny Galladay, former Detroit Lion, who parlayed his little 1-year success into a contract with the Giants, absolutely just boggled my mind that those 2 guys were actually New York Giants. Almost as mind-boggling as Wan'Dale Robinson getting $30 million a year from the Titans. But we won't get into that right now. But absolute miss. Absolute miss.
Yes, sir. Indeed.
What's his name is Kadarius.
Kadarius.
What kind of name is that? Anyway.
Maybe it's sad. I don't know. His parents are drunk. I'm just kidding.
Can't catch.
I love you.
You can be a wide receiver and can't catch.
All right. Last wide receiver taken in the first round of 2021 by the Baltimore Ravens. They just keep swinging him as Rashad Bateman.
Well, first, the problem with Rashad Bateman was that he went to Minnesota.
Yeah.
He went to Minnesota. He played for the Golden Gophers, and the Golden Gophers were not known as a prolific passing team if you follow the Big Ten at all. So, yeah, it's no surprise that he ended up being a miss.
Yeah, I don't know what Baltimore was doing right there, but okay, you gave it a shot. All right, we're going to move along to 2022. The 8th overall pick by the Atlanta Falcons, Drake London.
He's definitely a hit, and he's only going to get better and better.
Yeah,
and who knows? And I'm very intrigued to see how him and Tua, Kyle Pitts, Bijan. I'm very interested. I'll be side-eyeing, kind of paying attention to the Falcons out of the side of my eyes, back of my mind type thing as the season goes on. I really want to see how that works.
Yeah, especially fantasy-wise, when Drake London be a big-time wide receiver in the 2026 fantasy football season.
Is that a hit? Is that a hint? Is that a hint?
He hit me a little bit.
Are you prophesizing?
Indeed. Looking into that crystal ball that we got going on over here. You can't see it, but we got one. Trust me.
Right.
10th overall pick, the New York Jets took Garrett Wilson, who's got paid, man. He's making a lot of money.
If you go by the contract, he's definitely and he's really the only good thing on the Jets. They gave away, like I said, Sauce Gardner. Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson were really the only reason that you wanted to watch the Jets if you were forced to. But yeah, I think he's a hit.
Yeah, I would say so also. I mean, the numbers may not be there, but that's because he plays for the freaking Jets, man. I mean, that's
Justin Fields and, Aaron Rodgers.
He's a lot better than what the numbers would suggest.
Absolutely.
I saw him make a lot of great catches and put up even decent numbers with Aaron Rodgers. So I like Garrett Wilson. I will agree with you on that one. We got 2 hits in the 2022 draft. I'm going to say we got a third one right here. The 11th overall pick, the New Orleans Saints took Chris Olave.
Former Buckeye, former Big Ten, Michigan hater, Michigan killer. Yeah, Chris Olave he's pretty good. I'd qualify him as a hit.
I would too. He's pretty damn good right now. He's stuck in New Orleans. A lot of stuff going on, but all right.
He's with your boy though, man. He's with your boy. Oh shucks.
I know.
he's with all shucks down there. So who knows? Some people actually think that they're going to be able to turn it around. And in that division, who knows, man?
The Saints played good in the second half of the season, man. I mean, if that's any interpretation of what may happen next year, then there you go. I mean, things may we'll see. There was a wide receiver taken 8th, 10th, 11th, and now 12th. Your Detroit Lions took Jameson Williams. Is he a hit or a miss? I'll let you answer this one.
I'm kind of forced to say he's a hit, but he's a guy that still, I think, has a lot more to give. There's a lot more that I want to see, especially when, you consider now that he's gotten his money. He's kind of one of those guys that you've actually kind of see him. He started off a little rocky, getting into some off-field stuff, but you have seen him progress over the last couple of years. He's improved his route running. From what I've been told, he's improved his participation and all that in the film room, his focus. So he's trying to be a better overall receiver. But I will say this, if there's one guy that I want catching a crossing route or a slant that I know 80% of the time could take it to the house in the league, it's Jameson Williams. So I'd call him a hit.
Okay, then we're going to go with a hit. Again, not a number one receiver on his own team, but he's got the skills that pay the bills, man.
Absolutely.
Next guy, not so much. 16th overall pick by Washington, whatever they were calling themselves in 2022, Jahan Dotson.
No, actually, I think Jahan Dotson's like a free agent right now, and he's been out there since like the beginning of free agency.
I think he got scooped up by some team.
Did he? I didn't even think he got a sniff in free agency. I know he's one of the 300 plus. Oh no, you're right. I'm thinking of Jawan.
The Falcons took him, right?
The Falcons, yep, they did. They swooped him up. The Atlanta Falcons. That's such a Falcons thing to do.
Yeah, I knew somebody took him. It was the Falcons.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah,
he's definitely a miss, though. The 18th overall pick by the Titans in the first round, Treylon Burks, definitely a miss. We don't have to talk about that one. That was disappointing for them. And that's when A.J. Brown went over to Philadelphia because they thought Treylon Burks was going to fill the shoes in Tennessee. Not so much, my friends. Did not work out that way. 2023, a wide receiver wasn't taken until 20th. And that was by the Seattle Seahawks, but they nailed it. Jaxon Smith-Njigba.
Absolutely. He's my second favorite wide receiver. I'm a Jay. You know what? Never mind. I'm sorry.
Hey, you don't want to get him all riled up.
Well, no, I'm sorry. Well, no, I can't say that because he was a Buckeye. He was a Buckeye. Yeah,
be careful, right? You got to know where you're leading.
Oh, my God.
You don't want to piss me off either. I'm a 49er fan. I don't want to be hearing that crap. I don't need that. Say you're a Ricky Pearsall fan. That'll make me happy.
Oh, my God. You guys and your Ricky Pearsall. Get over it. Get over it. He's not going to be any good. Not good.
Well, we'll see what happens. But my expectations are low. So in the 2023 draft, the wide receiver was taken 20th, 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. We just did our 20th, Jaxon Smith-Njigba. Quentin Johnson went 21st to LA. That's definitely a miss, man. There's no way that's a hit.
For now, it is. But he's still young, and I still think that there's something there. However,
I don't
just
see
ask Will Johnson and Mason Graham and Aiden Hutchinson in that Michigan defense when they kind of toasted them in the national championship semifinals a few years ago.
Oh, there you go.
But yeah, he's a
miss. Before you hear about this next player, the Baltimore Ravens drafted Zay Flowers with the 22nd overall pick. What do you think about him? Do you think he's a hit or a miss at the 22nd overall pick?
You know what? As it relates to Baltimore, he's a hit. I think a lot of times
for them.
Yeah, for
Baltimore
them.
does not have a good history of drafting wide receivers.
What is wrong with them? What is wrong with them and why? And they've actually not a lot of times, but they've had some opportunities to draft some good receivers. I'd like to be curious and go back and look at some of the guys that they passed up on. But Zay Flowers was very highly regarded out of college. A lot of people mocked him to the Ravens. But yeah, all things being considered that it's the Ravens, he's a hit.
Okay, I'll give it
Plus,
to you.
I had him on my fantasy team.
How'd he do for you?
Not that bad. He was better than Cortland Sutton.
Wow.
That's another conversation.
I would think so. Well, maybe now Cortland's going to get a little bit more wide open with Jalen Waddle on the other side. We'll see. All right, last wide receiver taken in the first round in the 2023 draft, Jordan Addison to the Minnesota Vikings.
I'd have to say he's a hit. I mean, he complements JJ very well. They work very well together. He has opportunities. He's had opportunities to kind of step in and show what he can do. And I think, and he's like, say again, another young dude that has an opportunity, who knows the future of Justin Jefferson as it relates to Minnesota. We'll see. But Jordan Addison, I think, is proven that, more than proven that he can hang with the big boys, and it doesn't hurt when you're playing alongside of, one of the best receivers in the game. So yeah, Jordan Addison. I like Jordan Addison.
Okay. You like Addison. All right. Let's move it along to the 2024 draft. And here you go. McNiner. Marvin Harrison Jr. with the 4th overall pick to the Arizona Cardinals, man. 4th overall pick, Brian. 4th.
You talk about a miss. I don't think people talk about Javi Baez for the Detroit Tigers and how he swings at pitches that are like 75 feet outside the strike zone. I don't even think Javi could miss as bad as the Cardinals miss with Marvin Harrison. And the bad thing is that you don't have Kyler Murray anymore. So, whatever their quarterback situation is going to end up being, I don't see him really living up to that. He might end up being better. Can't be any worse. But I can't see him living up to the 4th overall pick. And that way to stick it to the Buckeyes, because he was supposed to be the second coming to Jerry Rice. And that other guy that plays for them currently, Jeremiah Smith, probably is going to exceed everything that Marvin Harrison's done to this point in the NFL.
Marvin Harrison Jr. is not even the second coming of his own father, obviously, not even close.
How disappointing does that have to be? Son, I gave you the genes, I gave you all the genetics, I gave you all my knowledge, and this is what I get?
His son's even, bigger than him, stronger than him, faster than him, all that stuff, and just not as good of a wide receiver. You see, you don't have to be the biggest, strongest, fastest. You need to be a precise route runner. You need to be smart. You need to know what to do with your eyes, with your hands. You need to know the routes, and you'll be a better wide receiver than just a guy who can run down the field like a Mike Williams, who we put as a miss, who could have been a hit. But you know what? You need to run more routes on the route tree. This next guy can. Your New York Giants in 2024 took Malik Nabers with the 6th overall pick. I think they hit that one, my friend.
I think they hit that one out of the park, and I can't wait to see him back 100% in action. Jackson Dart, that offense, I am so I haven't looked forward to a New York Giants season this much in a long time with the new coach. Jackson Dart, Scatterbo. We talked about last week, potentially Jeremiah Love maybe. But I think they'll go defense. But I can't wait to see him back and healthy. And he's going to play probably with the proverbial chip on his shoulder just because he got pissed off that he got injured.
There you go.
Can't wait.
There you go. Let's see how it goes down. All right, the Chicago Bears made a wide receiver draft pick with the 9th overall pick, Rome Odunze. I think he's a hit, man. I had him on my fantasy team. He was putting up numbers all year long, bro. I think he's a hit.
Yeah, I like Rome. I like Rome Odunze. I think, and Caleb Williams likes him too. I'm not sure. The Lions don't like him, but I like.
Now
Rome.
Now without DJ Moore there, he's going to have more opportunities. So you expect him to put up even bigger numbers than last year. All right, there was a lot of wide receivers taken in 2024 first round. Brian Thomas Jr., 23rd overall pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars. He had a really great season, then an okay season. So what do you think? He's more of the great or the okay?
No, I think he's mid at best, and there's still You know, I still think him and Trevor Lawrence has some things. He's still with Jacksonville. I think there's potential there, but as of right now, I see him as a miss. I don't see him. Okay. I don't game plan for Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah, I hear that. No doubt. And other guys had stepped up, and he kind of stepped out a little bit. So I'm with you. All right, the 28th pick by the Kansas City Chiefs. They missed on this one. Xavier Worthy, in my opinion, has not panned out for them.
Dude, when I watched him play at Texas, I was just like mesmerized. Like him and Matthew Golden, he was like the second coming of Matthew. And it's like, man, this guy is really, really good. But again, a lot of times, like you just said, man, it's not all about just running by people. You got to be precise and disciplined and all that. I still think, maybe another year or two under Andy Reid with some, solid coaching and things like that. I still think he could be good, but I don't think he'll be the great receiver, at least that I had in my head when I was wishing that the Detroit Lions would potentially draft him or the Giants.
Gotcha. All right. We have another Xavier coming up in this draft. But before that, we have the 31st overall pick, the 49ers. I just said his name before, Ricky Pearsall. And it didn't start out well for him. I mean, for God's sakes, the man got shot. Thank God he's alive and well and everything. Mm-hmm. But then injuries and everything. So we really haven't seen what he can be yet. So in that case, you have to call him a miss because we really haven't seen it yet. And when he's been on the field, yeah, he's been good, but not eye-popping. So I'll go ahead and take it. He's a miss.
Did it hurt you to say that?
No.
Did it hurt you to have to say that?
No, I'm good with that because I knew that. When they drafted him, it gave me like flashbacks of drafting Michael Crabtree, and we took him like 10th overall or something like that way back in the day. I was like, no, don't.
You mean Michael Crabtree, who would get his chain snatched all the time by Richard Sherman? Yeah.
Yeah,
out of
Richard
Texas
Sherman's
Tech.
Real tough guy, man.
I hate Michael Crabtree, and because I'll tell you why. Because I was watching Texas and Texas Tech. It was at the end of the season. Colt McCoy was the quarterback, and I forgot who the quarterback might have been, Graham Harrell or something like that for Texas Tech. I know that little sideline route for the touchdown that won the game and lost me a couple bucks. I'll always hate Michael Crabtree for that.
There you go. When money comes into it, there's definite hate in the air.
Oh, there's always definite hate. You never forget it.
Doubt.
You never forget the guy that cost you a couple bones.
No question. All right, I said we got one Xavier in this draft, the 2024 draft. The last pick, the Carolina Panthers swoop back in to take Xavier Legette. Sorry, not legit.
He's on like the list, the who's who of who's that. It's like
he's in the what?
Right.
In the who? Like, okay. So yeah, he's a miss. We got that down. No problem. Let's go to 2025 draft last year. And okay, it's like maybe too early. That's fine, but let's just do it anyway and give it a shot. Travis Hunter. Do we even want to call him a wide receiver? Do we even want to validate him for this?
No, I think we disqualify
him. I don't think so, right?
I think he's disqualified. Sorry,
I disqualify. Okay, we're gonna disqualify him. All right,
go both ways. We're not disqualifying you because you go both ways. We're just you haven't done enough on the on the offensive side of the ball for us to really make a educated decision.
No, and I hear he's going to play more defense than offense, which is a smart thing.
You called it.
Anyway. Yeah, that's why you go to number 2, not to get a wide receiver. Obviously, we talked about it only 3 times in the history of the freaking draft as a wide receiver from taking number 1 overall pick, and it has not worked out at all. All right, so that would make Ted McMillan, who was, I believe, the offensive rookie of the year, 8th overall pick to the Carolina Panthers. I would say he's a hit, man. I think this kid's good.
I like them. I like big wide receivers. I am so sick and tired of these little 5'9", 5'10" guys.
No,
I miss the Calvin Johnsons and the Plaxico Burresses and the Randy Mosses and these big physical receivers. Remember David Boston?
Yeah, sure. He was a big dude.
I miss. It's like we got away from that. We got all these little 5'10", 180-pound guys ripping and running around the field. Go back to the big receiver. That's 6'5", big
Well,
dude.
there's a reason why that is, because the game is way less physical now. You had more physical wide receivers back in those days. That's why Keyshawn Johnson went #1 overall, because he was a big physical type dude. You know, and there was more handsy back then. Now, yeah, you'll take the Devonta Smiths, you know, these smaller guys out there like that, because you can't push around a 170-pound guy unless you're 5 yards off the line. That's all you got. That's pretty much it. So if he beats you off the line, you're totally screwed. There's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
McNina, going back to maybe Marvin Harrison Jr. got hosed by being picked by the Cardinals. Maybe. I don't know, man. But if you're a really good wide receiver, I mean, like, I don't know. Like, you look at Brock Bowers. I mean, I know he's a tight end, but he played for the Raiders, and he put up amazing numbers. So I think if you're that good, you're going to put up numbers anyway. Like Ted McMillan with Bryce Young. Did anybody think that he was going to go for over 1,000 yards? No, but he did. He's a hit. He's a hit. So there you go.
I think Marvin Harrison, I think it might have, I don't want to say it was like a discipline thing or a focus thing with him, because we all know who his dad was, but it might have been. I think it got in his head that I'm Marvin Harrison Jr., all the hype that he got, college, Gus Johnson screaming at him every week. Oh my God, Marvin Harrison, what the, oh my, it's like, come on. And he gets the NFL, and it's like, dude, this ain't Purdue.
Right.
You know, this ain't Kentucky or Vanderbilt or you know, like say the Boilermakers or the Golden Gophers.
Boilermakers,
the NFL,
what a great name. Boilermakers.
I love it.
All right, we got 2 to go. 2025 draft. Emeka Egbuka taken 19th overall by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Definite hit. Damn,
all right.
Buckeyes, man.
Yeah, he was creeping up on being the offensive player of the year, and then Ted McMillan strut on in there and took it away from him. And a guy who was not in the running for that award, you mentioned his name before, the 23rd overall pick by the Green Bay Packers, Matthew Golden, another really fast dude who's really tiny, just like you were talking about, who does not show up on the stat sheet.
Yeah, he's another one of my Texas is like one of my auxiliary teams along with Oregon when it comes to college football. I'm Michigan first, and then I keep an eye on Texas and Oregon. And Matthew Golden was another one of those guys. If you watch some of the plays that he made when he was a Longhorn, it's like, man, this guy's a surefire top 10 pick. And then, you know, he ends up going to the Packers, which I was a little worried about. But then I'm like, there's Jordan Love throwing him the ball. And he kind of gets lost in the sauce because you got, you know, the guy with the big helmet that's no longer there with the, you know, Romeo Dobbs. And they had some really solid tight end play, Tucker Kraft and whatnot. So maybe, or I'm sorry, no. Yeah, he went to Green Bay. I'm thinking of Xavier Webb.
Yeah, Green Bay, you good.
Yeah, he and he's still, you know, young, and there's, you know, who knows? This might be a breakout season for him. I hope not as a Lions fan, but you know, as a
I don't really think so, man. I'm not sure. I don't think they
maybe. He's got a cool last name.
Yeah, well, he's a miss for now. As the golden boy, he's a miss right now. And we are through with the last 10 years of wide receivers. And just like last week with the quarterbacks, we went through it, man. And there were more misses than hits. And just like that quarterback draft, the wide receivers over the last 10 years, there are more misses than hits. There are 26 misses to 15 hits, wide receivers taken in the first round over the past 10 years. So, again, these you can't know enough information going into these drafts. It's hit or miss, man. Just like these guys, it really is hit or miss. You just don't really freaking know. They can do all this great work in college. Some of them don't do a lot of great stuff in college, but people have the eye for these guys, and they come out and they're amazing. But you just don't know, man. So, I mean, unreal. 26 misses and 15 over the past 10 years in the first round, wide receivers. Damn.
That's not good. It's like a 43% hit rate on wide receivers going, you know, if you do the math, and it goes to prove that, again, drafting is not an exact science. No matter how much Mel Kiper and all these other guys come out and yell and scream and tell you who this guy is and that guy is, and you're dealing with, you know, NFL general managers and some of the smartest guys, you know, in football, and it just goes to show you, man, that it's always a crapshoot. You'll have a guy that you think, you know, you draft him third, fourth round. Next thing you know, like an Amon Ra wasn't a first round pick.
No,
you know, and he's one of the best receivers in the league. But then you get, like you say, the Keyshawn Johnsons or a lot of these other guys that went in the first round, and some of these guys you don't even know where they are anymore. You know,
I hear you, man. And we just went over a whole bunch of them. Again, 15
41 wide receivers we just went through. That's crazy. And 15
out
only
of 40,
15 of them.
That took some time. So that's going to take a segment out of our show today, but that's all right. We have plenty of time, plenty of stuff. We'll do the head coaching thing another time. I want to get into big deal, no deal with you.
Well, Big Deal or No Deal, sponsored by the Power 32 podcast. This is the segment of the show where I present several scenarios to the prophet in the chat, and he tells us if it is a big deal or no deal. And I want to start off with the fact that there are still so many big name, and I stress that, free agents still left out there. Is it a big deal or no deal if your team's looking for just depth, or if you're looking to get somebody on the cheap? Is it still a big deal or no deal that you got guys like Stefon Diggs is still out there, Jawan Taylor's still out there, Taylor Decker was just recently let go by the Lions, Trayvon Diggs, got L'Jarius Sneed, Kirk Cousins. I mean, you got all these, Hassan Reddick, who I'm shocked is still out there. Joey Bosa, Aaron Rodgers. Is it a big deal or no deal? Or are teams just getting wiser to not necessarily go after names in free agent, but they're being a little bit more disciplined in their approach when it comes to free agency?
Yeah, I think the latter part right there. I mean, there's a reason why these guys aren't picked up yet, whether they are asking for more money than what they're worth, or they've been hurt over the years, or they believe their talent is what it is, or they got an agent who wants to get them, as much money as possible. Oh, my guy's top 5 guy. Look at the stats, whatever, this and that and the other thing. And some of them could be like unfulfilled stats toward the end of a game where you're picking up 60 yards that, you wouldn't have had necessarily if you were trying in the first quarter. Point being that the free agents are free agents for a reason. And an Aaron Rodgers is a guy who is just an outlier because we pretty much know he's going back to Pittsburgh right now. Otherwise, there would be more moves, more talk. He's talking to Mike McCarthy like every other day on the phone. So he's kind of an outlier in that case. But the L'Jarius Sneeds who think that they're worth more than they're not, he's not going to get that contract. And if he wants to get on a team, he's going to have to come down a little bit, get to where he's got to go. Stefon Diggs, another one. He's not what he was 3, 4, 5 years ago. He's just not that guy anymore. So him thinking that he's worth that amount of money, saying, hey, look, I got to a Super Bowl here. I was the number 1 wide receiver on a Patriot team and the second-year quarterback. Look what I did with these guys. Yeah, you had 1,003 yards. Okay, I'm not really going to be flipping that. That's barely even 60 yards a game. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do with that?
You hit kind of a point there because we get so caught up in 1,000-yard receivers, 1,000. It's like, yeah, dude, for the money you're paying and the guy that you think you are, that's 60 yards a game. You should be able to kind of do that in your sleep, and if you're not, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
No kidding, man.
That's funny. So I know we got another segment to get to, so I'm going to do this big deal or no deal, and it kind of relates to the Lions, but it kind of overall, because you guys have, 49ers really haven't had to deal with stuff like this. So I just want your thoughts overall. Is it a big deal or no deal that the Detroit Lions have asked Frank Ragnow to give back $3 million of a signing bonus because he wasn't able to fulfill his contract? And overall, do you think it's a big deal or no deal that some teams in the league, not a lot, but some teams in the league do that when a player either gets hurt or retires or whatever? Because this is the 3rd time now that the Lions have done that with a franchise-type player. They did it with Calvin Johnson. They did it with Barry Sanders. Now they're doing it again with Frank Ragnow. Is that a big deal or no deal that teams ask? Because, wasn't a big deal. It wasn't his contract to play hurt. Was his contract, he's one of the more steadfast guys on that Lions team. And now they're actually asking him to give back some money. So are stuff like that a big deal or no deal?
I don't think it's a huge deal. It depends on the player and how much money they're making. And $3 million to Frank Ragnow, yeah, I mean, it's still significant. There's no doubt about it. I would say asking for the money back is kind of cowardice. I would say restructure the contract. If anything, you spread it out over a longer period of time, or, whatever it's going to be, put it on the back end of the contract, whatever you want to do. But yeah, asking for the money back, saying you didn't live up to this, then you know what, trade me, get me out of here. That's your fucking problem. You paid me this money. This is the contract that you signed, that I signed and delivered. Let's go. Give me the freaking money, man. $3 million is a lot of money.
It is, but it only amounts to, as far as the salary cap, it's like 1% of the $300 million salary cap. So
right.
I think it's just a bad move, if anything, from a PR standpoint. But
that's why I say it's not really that big of a deal.
Yeah. So actually, I do have one more, and big deal or no deal. Mike Vrabel takes the New England Patriots to the Super Bowl in his first year. Is it a big deal or no deal for the rest of the coaches in the league that now they don't get 4 or 5 years anymore to prove this, to be successful? They got to do it right here, right now. We're talking second round of the playoffs, championship games, and potential Super Bowl. So did Mike Vrabel kind of break the mold for that? So now is it a big deal or no deal that, hey, you don't get that 4, 5, 6 years anymore to win. You got to do it now.
I think that teams need to be more patient with their coaches, especially if you decided to hire them in the first place. You need to give them more than just 2 years. And I feel bad for guys like, Michael LaFleur, who's probably not going to get that in Arizona because of the team that he's given. Mm-hmm. But I think that Vrabel is a guy who's already been a coach in the NFL. Right. So I think that you kind of maybe take him out a little bit, and he had success with Tennessee. They were a number 1 overall seed going back a few years ago. Mm-hmm. So you knew that he can coach. It was just surprising that he got this team there, but so many things had to fall into place for them for that to happen. Bo Nix being hurt in the title game, Houston not being able to score worth a lick and only having a good defense. I mean, there was so many things that fell for them that I believe that Vrabel doing it in his first year with the Patriots. Again, he's a coach that has that cachet already. He's been there and he's done that. So I don't think that other teams and GMs and whatnot and owners should be looking at their head coaches and saying, "Oh my God, Mike Vrabel did it in his first year with the new team. My guy better do it in his first year or two, or that's it." No, that's a bad way to look at things. If you are really believing in a coach that you hired, then you let it play out. You let him draft some of his guys and let things work out and give it time to mold.
Unless you're Aaron Glenn with the New York Jets.
Yeah, might not be so good.
So, yeah. But anyway, yeah, but good stuff as always. That was big deal or no deal. Brought to you by the Power 32 podcast. Great stuff as always. And now, as McNiner says, I think Vrabel overachieved. Should give a coach 3, maybe if not more. If it's the Jets or the Raiders.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that for a second. So, and what Mike McDonald with the Seahawks.
Seattle.
So that I guess your answer would be the same, because he actually won the Super Bowl, and that was what, his second or third year with the team.
Second year. I
mean, so some of these teams, and then you look at but then you look at teams that progressed the old-fashioned way, like the Lions did. They had their year, then they had the championship, then they went to 15-2. And now they kind of backslid a little bit. So you say it all the time. The NFL week to week is about matchups. You can't predict this. You can't predict that. I had 5 sacks last week. Yeah, but you played against Jawan Taylor. Now you're going up against Taylor Decker or, Tyler Lindenbaum. And it's totally different week to week. But I kind of agree with you with the whole let it take, and the same thing with players, quarterbacks. Let your quarterback develop. Let your quarterback, marinate a little bit. Play behind somebody that's been there, done that, and give them time to adjust and adapt to the game instead of just throwing everybody. You throw coaches into the fire. You throw quarterbacks into the fire. You throw all these running backs and all these players into the fire, and you want them to produce right now. And a lot of times, some of these guys need a little bit of time to develop.
That's all there is to it, man. I totally agree. And we've seen that with a lot of quarterbacks in the league. When you talk about the guy like Sam Darnold, he's a perfect example. Came in, a lot of hype, didn't work out for a little while, needed to be on the right team, needed to learn a few things from this coach. That coach comes in, has 2 back-to-back excellent years, most wins in the NFL, Super Bowl champion. I mean, what can you say? But you need to give it time with your quarterbacks, with your head coaches, with a lot of guys. You need to let it marinate. You can't expect dudes to just come in there and be winners right away. It's a learning experience. I mean, even like, I know it's a different sport, but the great LeBron James had to take his talents to South Beach to learn how to be a winner with Dwayne Wade, so we can go back to Cleveland and win a championship with them. But anyway, I digress from all that right there. All right, that's good stuff. Big deal, no deal. We're going to do head coaches' first-year expectations. I want to save that for next week, given all the time that we have, because I know we're going to do some NFL team futures right now. And, of course, I got to have your opinion on this. So let's go back and forth and see what we can come up with over here.
So yeah, this is NFL Futures. We take 5 teams, and the prophet looks into his crystal ball, and he gives everybody the insight on what he thinks the future holds for the next 2 to 3 years. We don't go too far out. We only go about 2 to 3 years out.
And my vision is only so clear. I can only go so far into the future. I'm no freaking Nostradamus, okay? I don't have my own
1,000 years into the future, right? So we're going to start with the aforementioned Arizona Cardinals. What do you see from the Arizona Cardinals and Mike LaFleur within the next 2 to 3 years?
We were just talking about it, man. Like, he's probably going to have just this unfair shot and probably get fired in a couple of years. I mean, the Cardinals, they may draft a quarterback this year, and they may draft a quarterback next year. That's how bad they are. They may go for 2 in a row, and neither of them are probably going to hit because it's Arizona. And you even mentioned last week when we did the quarterbacks, Josh Rosen. Did he really get a fair shot? I mean, we're never going to really know because he went to the Cardinals, and that was it. Like, he didn't get a chance to play anymore. But this team is not run well, man. I mean, Kurt Warner is not walking through that door. Larry Fitzgerald is not walking through that door, man. You don't have these guys anymore. So Matt LaFleur's brother, Mike LaFleur, is going to be looking for a new job probably in the next 2 to 3 years, unfortunately. Just way too many holes to fill, and they don't even have a quarterback. They have nothing going on right now, so nothing looks promising for this team. They'll be in the bottom of the NFC West again in the next 2 to 3 years. Yeah,
and they kind of put you in the mind of the Miami Dolphins. I mean, the Miami Dolphins intentionally gave everybody away and cut people, this, that, and the other, to where they end up with nothing except Malik Willis and David Achane. But
real freaking smart. Let's bring in a brand new quarterback and give him nothing to work with.
Exactly. And I think now the same thing is you bring in a head coach. This is definitely not going to be a Harbaugh situation where both brothers are successful head coaches, because Mike LaFleur walks in. You talk about a bare cupboard. You know, a cupboard that's absolutely bare. There's no salt. There's no pepper. There's no fresh red hot sauce. There's no bag, pouch of Starkist tuna. There's nothing in there, man. Maybe some old crackers and a half-eaten piece of pita bread or something like that. But yeah, they're going to stay where they are. They're going to be at the bottom of the NFC. And this one actually, we talk about next 2 to 3 years, because like you say, he'll be fired and they'll bring in another coach, and the cycle will repeat itself. So Cardinals could be bad for a long, long time, man. So next team brings us the Cincinnati Bengals. This is one of the teams that is always very intriguing every offseason, and go into every season thinking it's going to be the year. What do you see in the next 2 to 3 years with the Cincinnati Bengals?
They'll be the team that you want to play on Sundays, because they are going to suck. They're not any good, I mean, the defense may not want to play so much if Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins are all out there, but you know what? They will be looking for a new head coach. This team, no doubt about it. Zach Taylor is freaking out of there, and having these. See, the thing is, they're really going to have to release and restructure like everybody's contract except for Joe Burrow if you want to keep him. That includes Jamar Chase. You got to do something. This guy making $40 million a year. Too much money tied up in the offense. You got to start thinking about the defense, but they got too many holes. You can't give up on Joe Burrow. I mean, his talent does not come around that often. He's that good of a quarterback, but him himself needs to stay on the field. He's got to stay healthy, and he's had a problem showing that. But everybody else, to me, is expendable on this team until they figure out what they need to do and clean things up. Really, bro, at the line of scrimmage in its most simplest form. Go back to basics. Get your offensive line, your defensive line right. This way you can start running the ball better and getting teams off the field and 3 and out and become a football team again.
Exactly. And I think Cincinnati, to your point, got away from that. I think they turned into more of a show as opposed to a football team. Sure. And some teams kind of fall guilty of that. And I think when you got a $40 million receiver and you got a $30 million receiver and you got a $50 million quarterback, and you got all that money tied up into those positions, you're never going to get that money's worth out of any of those positions. But what you do hope is that you have enough solid guys around you to kind of be able to pick up the slack to where you can go 11-6 and start making the playoffs. You talk about a team that has egregiously underachieved over the last few years since their Super Bowl appearance. And let's be honest, that's really their only claim to fame. Was that and ever since then it's been everything downhill, been drama. If I'm Joe Burrow, I'm not necessarily going to demand a trade, but I would start going to the front office and say, man, we got to do something different. And like you said, it starts in the trenches. Like most normal football teams, it starts with the trenches. It starts with the offensive line in particular to keep him upright. And then your defensive line, your defense usually comes along a little faster than your offense.
Mm-hmm.
That offensive line, man, they got to do something. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them with the depth of offensive linemen that potentially are going to go in the first round. Cincinnati might go offensive lineman first and second round.
Might be a smart thing to do for a change. Protect your asset. Protect Joe Burrow, man. Not that hard of a thing to figure out.
All right, we got the Bengals off the list. The next one on the list is a team that's we kind of both root for off the record, is the LA Chargers. We talk about Bo Nix and we talk about potentially a Marion Hampton, maybe a breakout season for him. We know they got the coaching to do it. What do you see in the next 2-3 years as you look into the crystal ball? What do you see for the LA Chargers?
Yeah, man. If the Bengals, like I just said, are the team that you want to play every Sunday, the Chargers are going to be the team that you don't want to play every Sunday. The Jim Harbaugh gets it done, man. He gets to the championship. He wins games. They're going to be Super Bowl contenders. I really believe that because Justin Herbert, I think, is really good. They're going to put more weapons around him. The defense is tough as nails, there's no doubt. Mm-hmm. They're going to continue to grow. And with Jim Harbaugh there as their coach and all that experience, him knowing how to get the job done and win, I believe they will be winners and they will be on top of the AFC West in the next year or two. Especially 3 years down the road, I think this team is really going to hit it. But they do have to hit on players in the draft to avoid paying out really huge contracts because, Herbert's going to be making a ton of freaking money, obviously. And you're going to bring in guys that you want to pay, but don't want to pay them right away. So over the next couple of years, the little holes that they got to fill in, a little bit at wide receiver or tight end over there, and maybe a defensive back here or there, you hit on the draft, this team could be right in the championship game, man.
And I agree 100%. And the good thing is that there are several wide receivers in this draft that I think would fit right in with what the Chargers like to do. And every team right now, even teams that already have them, are looking for kind of big playmaker type receivers. You can never have too many. But the problem is that eventually you end up in a situation like the Lions where you end up having to pay all these guys because you have such a really good draft class that now you hit on all these guys. So now you got to pay 4 or 5 guys, all at once, a big bag. So I do think that the Chargers need to look into potentially another big play receiver. I'd like to see better play, and you hit it right on the head with the secondary. So this is the draft to do it. This is a deep draft for positions other than quarterbacks. So if a team misses on this draft, I think it's just because they didn't do their homework. So
the Chargers have the 22nd overall pick. Should they offer the Eagles the 22nd overall pick for AJ Brown?
Will that be enough? I don't think it'll be enough. I don't think Howie Roseman. We both love Howie Roseman. We often, applaud his general manager skills. I don't know. Is that enough if you're the Eagles?
I think so. AJ Brown's, starting to get to the back end of his career. Even you got to think so. Even though he's a really good hell of a wide receiver, no doubt. I think that's enough. I really do.
I think they probably go for something like a first and a third or a first. I'd offer like a first and a fourth. And if you want anything other than that, I'm hanging up the phone if I'm the Chargers.
That I think the Chargers would probably do a first and a fourth. I think they would do that to get a talent like AJ Brown in there because we talk about this team is one piece away. I feel like the Chargers really are like one really big stud weapon on offense away from getting to that next step. I really believe that. So the Chargers right there.
All right, moving on. This is the team that you love, and you love their quarterback. And no, it's not Jimmy Garoppolo. The Green Bay Packers. Led by Jordan Love, as you look into the future with the other LaFleur. What do you see for the Green Bay Packers in the next 2 to 3 years in a very deep and talented NFC North?
No doubt. That's a big thing. These 3 other teams, Minnesota, Chicago, Detroit, can all be good for a while. Detroit, we feel like maybe skidding down a little bit, but it's still got time to fix things. So let's see what happens. But LaFleur, he's a really good head coach, and the Packers stick with their head coaches for a while. Mike Holmgren, Mike McCarthy. But he may need some therapy. Matt LaFleur, because they may be looking for another quarterback. But the Packers, they feel like they're the team that's going to be one and done in the playoffs like every single year. They're good enough to get there, but not good enough to get the job done. They get to the wild card round, maybe win one playoff game, but you feel like that's about it. And another thing is that not many players want to go to Green Bay. In free agency, who the hell wants to go to fucking Green Bay and live there? I mean, for God's sake.
So you end up having to overpay guys.
That's
you
right.
End up having to overpay and
you overpay. So
would you want to go to Green Bay?
Micah Parsons did not say, "Yo, trade me to Green Bay." Okay, he did not say that. I promise you, he did not say that. It was not that team first in mind right there, but that's where he went. So the Packers, they'll be good, but not good enough.
That sounds about right too. So
they'll be just good enough for LaFleur to keep his job.
Yep. And in this league, sometimes that's all that matters. And like I say, it'll be very interesting to see what happens with Dan Campbell over the next couple seasons too. But last but not least is a team that is legitimately near and dear to your heart and McNiner. San Francisco 49ers. Look into your crystal ball. And if you're John Lynch, you're Kyle Shanahan, and then Brock Purdy, what do you see for this franchise in the next 2 to 3 years?
I hate to say this, man. Wow, I can't believe I'm about to say this right now. I didn't even write this down, but they're kind of like the Packers of the West, bro, in my opinion. They're going to stay relevant to be in the playoffs, but not make enough noise, man. When you look at this team right now, their offense and defensive line need help. All right, so it's going to take time to repair that and replace these guys. Christian McCaffrey is eventually going to age out. So your best player is going to be gone at some point, and he's basically irreplaceable. I mean, he does everything for the 49ers. So they're going to need to find some weapons, and I don't think that they can do it quick enough over these next couple of years to get the job done. So I'm worried about their future. They're going to be a fringe playoff team for the next 2 to 3 years because they just don't have all the guys, and they need more time to get this draft going. To get these players picks and whatnot. And they have, the 27th pick this year, so they're going to be a big stud.
But let me ask you this, though. So if you're and to your point, do you start now? Because how old is McCaffrey? 31, 30?
I think, yeah.
So you're already, the whole Ayuk thing is a bust. You got Ricky Pearsall. George Kittle coming back off a disastrous injury. Do you start now instead of waiting until Christian McCaffrey really can't play anymore and Kittle, maybe has a down first half of this season because he's just trying to get his mojo back? Ricky Pearsall is not a clear number one wide receiver.
No.
I think your defense, even though Robert Saleh is gone, I still think you got the players to be able to get it done. But I'm more worried, and I've stated this with you guys for the longest. I'm more worried about their offense. So do they start this year in the draft, maybe starting to make some moves, maybe get a little bit more aggressive, maybe offer to move up, maybe package some picks to move up to start getting some of these playmakers so that they can keep this thing rolling and maybe, just maybe, find lightning in a bottle and get to a Super Bowl?
Yeah, by the way, McCaffrey will be 30 when the season starts. Well, not 31, he'll be 30. And by the way, McNaught is saying that Lynch is in this final year of his contract. Shanahan's up in 2027. Yeah, these years went by quick, so it's time to put up or shut up. Absolutely. I don't think they're going to be signing any new contracts anytime soon. It is time to put up or shut up 100%. And as far as getting guys, whether it be in free agency or through the draft, they keep staying just enough relevant. They're not going to be able to get those really high draft picks. So you're right. They're going to have to make a trade. But now this franchise is afraid to make a big trade because of what happened with Trey Lance. They gave up 3 first-round picks to get Trey Lance, who was an absolute bum for the team. We went over that last week. He was an obvious miss in the first round. So they put themselves behind the 8 ball in so many ways, but have managed to stay relevant despite these bad moves. And Brandon Ayuk getting $30 million is another one of them. Think what you can be doing with $30 million. You can give it to 2 other players that can fill up giant holes in your team. So, like you said, what do you do? Where's the answer? The answer is being smart in management, like John Lynch has been for a while. All right. But again, you got to hit on these players and you got to be able and willing to spend money. And the 49ers traditionally have not been a team that spends money.
And to McNiners, he brings up a really, really good point, because this is not necessarily a lame duck situation. Well, it is for John Lynch. So if you're San Francisco ownership, are you taking stock into what you've seen over the last few years? Are you looking at, you know what? We've had all these opportunities. We've had a really good coach. We had really good defense. We have really good staff, this. But at the end of the day, we haven't been able to get it done. So if John Lynch, if this is the last year of his contract, and then next year is the last year of Shanahan's contract, do you give Lynch one more year and then let him and Shanahan kind of go out together or win together? That's going to be
really hard.
That might be a more interesting detail to think about than what do you do with the roster, because it says it right there. I mean, in 2 years, both of these guys could potentially be gone. Well, in another year, both of these guys could be gone.
Yeah, it's as simple as that, and that's how it goes. But I will say this: it is incredibly difficult to get to a Super Bowl, and the 49ers went to 2 of them in the past 5 years, and you have to.
You're going to die on that hill, ain't you?
No, I'm not. I'm mad about it. I'm mad about it, and I hate the freaking Chiefs because they're the team that beat us both freaking times. I just despise the freaking Kansas City Chiefs because of that. But think about all the teams in the AFC that haven't been able to get there because of the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, they go to Super Bowl after Super Bowl after Super Bowl. Not last year, obviously. And then Philly had gone there 2 out of 3 years, and the 49ers have gone 2 out of 5 years. So it's not a lot of teams that are getting to the Super Bowl. So my point is, it's extremely difficult. We keep saying Buffalo's going to get there. We keep saying Baltimore's going to get there. Well, you know what? The 49ers have got there with, yes, Jimmy freaking Garoppolo and Brock Purdy.
Say it. Say his name.
So something has to be said for that. And I give a lot of props to Shanahan. But again, like McNiner said, it's time to put up or shut up. We need to win, not just get there. So credit for what credit is due, what you have done, but time to take the next step, man. Got to win the whole fucking thing.
And unfortunately for you guys, the pressure is now really on, because we talked about it earlier about coaches being under pressure to win right away. A guy comes in your division second year in and he wins the Super Bowl. So that's got to be a groin kick.
And it doesn't help that Sean McVay is in that division as well, who is also
who's also got us. I mean, this. There's always the Cardinals. You can always look at at least we're better than the Cardinals.
Yeah, at least we're better than those freaking guys, right? The Red Sea is departed. My goodness.
But that is NFL future. So, Prophet, you can put your crystal ball away for till next week. We'll have 5 more teams. We'll put under the microscope or put under the crystal ball and see what you see. So
I look forward to that.
But yeah, that's good stuff as always. And thank McNiner for chiming in with that. I didn't even realize the contract situation. You're just so used to them being there,
right?
So you don't even think about
They've
the
been
contract
there for so long, man.
Right?
They've been there for 8 years or whatever it is now. I'm losing track. 8, 9 years or whatever it's been. I remember it feels like yesterday. They both got new 6-year contracts.
Yeah,
that was 5 years ago, obviously. Whatever it was.
Here we go.
Wow. So next week we'll do running backs in the first round, because we have one running back that we know is going in the first round, Jeremiah Love. But where's he going? Tennessee, the Giants, another team. Does this team sneak up to go ahead and take him? I don't know. That's interesting. But we'll do running backs next week and see how many have hit or missed. We did receivers, more misses than hits. Quarterbacks, more misses than hits. Let's see if the trend continues next week, my friend.
Absolutely. So, as McNiner with a final word, if I was an owner, I'd wait to see how this season goes. Not talking contracts. If somehow the 49ers win a Super Bowl, then extend. And that's really the only way you can handle it right now.
If they win a Super Bowl, then you give them lifetime contracts, in my opinion. That's it. They can be 49ers forever, because we haven't won one. We are a storied franchise. We haven't won a Super Bowl since 1994. It has been a long time.
You in Dallas, man.
Yeah, right. We're barking it up with Dallas, man. And shit, we have been to 3 Super Bowls since. We lost every one of them. 1 to Baltimore, 2 to Kansas City. I'm getting sick and tired of this shit. It's time to fucking win. And the problem is, I don't feel that they are as good as Seattle, as good as the Rams, as good as even Chicago right now, potentially as good as maybe Minnesota might be, or even Green Bay, Philadelphia, there's Dallas. I mean, there's a lot of teams out there. Somebody's got to win the NFC South, whether it be the Saints or the Panthers or the Bucks. I have no idea. So the 49ers, man, look, we got a rough road ahead of us, bro. Got a rough road. So McNiner, I know you're going to hang in there. You're a diehard fan, man. I appreciate you, brother. 49 fans got to stick together. There's not many of us, especially here in Florida. I look around and I'm by myself.
Right.
There's not many 49 fans in Florida, bro. That's for shit sure. And when I lived in New York, there weren't many of us up there. So I have been alone, all alone in front of my TV, watching them by myself on Sundays.
That's funny. That's funny. Because there's not, they don't travel very well, but
no, I guess not.
But yeah, man,
over there on the West Coast.
Another great show in the books. Like you say, next week we got more futures. We got our coaching classes. We're going to kind of see what some of the expectations are with these new NFL head coaches. We're going to have big deal, no deal as always, NFL trivia. And as always, before we sign out, we want to make sure you like, follow, subscribe, tell a friend, make a friend. As Prophet always says, if you don't have any friends currently, go out to the bar and make some. And tell them all to tune into the Power 32 podcast each and every week here at 7 p.m. on Tuesday nights live on YouTube. So check us out on social media. We're there as well on X. You can see me on Facebook, and I got a TikTok account going as well. So we're all over the place. So make sure you tell everybody in the world, about the Power 32 podcast.
And you can definitely find us on Twitter. I'm at Sports Prophet 1. That's the number 1. And Mr. Primetime 313 at Mr. Primetime 313.
Right there.
He's a great follow, man. Follow the man. Follow us. We shall lead you to the promised land, my friends. NFL season never dies with Power 32. We're back next week, everybody. Peace.
Peace.